I swear I just need to get a keychain and link it to my keychain every time, so I keep finding. All right, welcome back. Thank you guys very, very much for staying tight here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get things started with our symphonic band. Before we do, I just want to kind of talk about this first piece real quick so you get a little bit of context behind it. As Mr. Thomas says, as Mr. Jerry Hoover from used to be Southwest Missouri State, now Missouri State University, always says, it's not a band concert if there isn't a march. And I know we've already had a wonderful march that Ben bases as well as Zion March. However, a Sousa March, I don't think there's anything more, don't use the word American, it's not cliche, but really more band than a Sousa March. This particular march has a little bit of meaning behind it. It was composed in 1888 by John Philip Sousa, and it was actually written shortly after Sousa was knighted in Columbia Commandery No. 2, Knights Templar, Washington, D.C., so the Masonic Temple. The Knights Templar is theoretically derived from the Crusades, hence the name the Crusaders, and a number of their secret rituals and ceremonies relate to the period when the Crusaders were battling the Turks. Thus, the Knights Templar organization itself is assumed to be the Crusader that is mentioned in the title here. This march, when it was first originally composed in 1888, all of the rights and the music, etc., was sold to the Philadelphia publisher Harry Coleman for the grand total of $35, which is crazy to think. It was initially believed that because this was shortly after John Philip Sousa was knighted, that he had used fragments of very famous Masonic music throughout. However, if he did, there's a lot of music historians that are completely unable to actually trace it. He fragmented it so much that they really haven't been able to track it down. So maybe you can help us, I don't know. But this is The Crusaders by John Philip Sousa. Sousa March is wonderful. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Xander. A couple years ago, Mr. Shore remembers, I got on a Sousa kick and I started reading books, which if I start reading a book about it, that's crazy. That's nuts when I start reading a book about it. Right, Caitlin, my wife? Yeah? Anyways, so we're going to move on with this next piece. We're going to slow things down. This is a beautiful piece. And if you're German, I'm going to try not to butcher the pronunciations. I listen to YouTube clips on how to pronounce all this stuff, so I could not. But entitled Ammerland, and this is kind of setting the tone here. It's kind of putting you in a place. So I need you to kind of think. It says it depicts the lush, enchanting region surrounding the Zwischenanler Lake in Ammerland, Lower Saxony, Germany. The rural land of Ammerland boasts seemingly endless country roads and an exquisite lakeside. The sonorous sounds of Ammerland create the feeling of being carried away to this unique landscape of fields covered with sprawling meadows, covered with wildflower blossoms. Please enjoy Ammerland. right, we've made it to that time. Before we get to our final piece, I've got a chunk of kiddos to recognize and to bring some kiddos up front because they've given, to be honest, probably hours-wise, the majority of their high school career to this program, whether it be outside of marching band, whether it be in class, in concert band, jazz band, symphonic band, horse band. They've really, they make up the core. Before I do that, I do want to recognize one student. We have one kiddo in here who has, once again, we had a need. We needed somebody to step up and fill a spot here, and he's been doing a fantastic job for us the last few rehearsals. I'm stepping in and reading. Mr. Craig Vilches on Barry saxophone. Great stand up. Very tall order for a freshman to step in, and like I said, in probably a third or maybe a quarter of the amount of rehearsals, be able to put this together and be an asset for us. So thank you, Craig. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead. Before I and my concert band seniors, if you guys want to come down to the green room here, before I recognize our seniors, I did also want to recognize some awesome accomplishments of our kids. Let's see, I guess 3 weeks ago, we had the Misha Solo and Ensemble, the district event, which was held at Hillsborough High School. And in case you didn't know what that is, essentially these students, they prepare a solo, or they prepare a small group, an ensemble, some chamber music. Some of them work with an accompanist. Basically, it's all about musicality, it's all about individual musicianship or being able to play in that small group, which is quite a bit different from playing in a large group. And this year we had a fantastic number of students. I think we had roughly 31 or 32 students participate in that. And out of that, I'm still, like I said, been sifting back. I don't want to say anything, but pretty sure these students this year, I think they set a Fox High School record for us once again in that we had, 21 events that got a gold rating and that are headed to state in the end of April, and 4 events that got a silver rating. That's absolutely fantastic, folks. So if you were a part of any of the gold or silver events, yeah, let's hear it for them. Absolutely. If you were a part of gold or silver events, as well as some of my folks up in the balcony there, you guys can stand up really quick so we can recognize you all. And like I said, that's completely on their own. Mr. Short, Mr. Thomas, and myself, we really try to make sure the kids have the avenue that if they need help finding a piece or if they need help after school, etc., that we're kind of finding the time to help them with that. But I'll be 100% honest, a large portion of these kids come to me in sometimes November, sometimes before marching band's over, and this is the piece I'm playing. And I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even count those rhythms. Oh, what? Especially with my flute folks. But anyways, and they work it up, and then when we start working with accompanists, I mean, it's amazing what these kids can do. So great job, guys. We're going to go ahead. We're going to recognize our seniors, and we don't have a huge list here, so I think they deserve to be clapped after each one, right? Don't you think? So I'm going to go ahead, seniors. When I call your name, if you can go ahead, we're going to line up here on our way over. Let me grab my other piece of paper. All right, we're going to start with no one other than Mr. Sean Haack Fox Band. Let's hear Sean. Sean fans are attending State Tech for Heavy Equipment Technology. Sean Haack Band. Next, we have Mr. Carter Klotz. Let's hear for Carter Klotz. Carter fans are attending Jefferson College and then following into Missouri S&T. Carter Klotz, everybody. Next up, we have Mr. Ryan Liley. Let's hear for Mr. Ryan Liley. Ryan plans on going into aerospace engineering at Missouri S&T. Let's hear for Ryan. Next up, we have Miss Claire Klingler. Claire Klingler is planning on attending the University of Missouri, Kansas City to major in business and psychology. Let's hear for Claire. Next up, we have Jacob Zepeda. Jacob Zepeda plans on attending Southeast Missouri State University and majoring in cybersecurity. Let's hear for Jacob. Next, one of our percussionists, Mr. Charlie Perkins. Charlie also also plans to attend Missouri S&T for aerospace engineering. Let's hear for Charlie once again. Moving on along, we got Miss Hailie Tubbs. Hailie Tubbs plans on attending Maryville University for physical therapy. Hailie Tubbs, everybody. Next, we have Mr. Andrew Bonner. Andrew Bonner is going to attend Missouri S&T for civil engineering. Let's hear for Andrew one more time. Next, we have Mr. Aiden Schaeffer. And Aiden says he will be attending the University of Missouri Columbia to study accounting in the Truless College of Business. Let's hear for Aiden. Next, one of our senior clarinetists, Miss Abby Serati. Abby plans on attending Mizzou and majoring in animal science with a minor in music. Let's hear for Abby. Next, another one of our senior clarinetists, Miss Caitlin Hayes. Caitlin plans on attending Missouri S&T for computer science. Let's hear for Kate. Going right along, we have Mrs. Presley Quarles. Presley plans on attending the University of Nebraska-Lincoln to major in dietetics. Let's hear for Presley Quarles. I need to take a breath real quick. Some of these I can't even pronounce. Like that's how smart you kids are. Let's see. Next up, we have another senior clarinetist, Miss Amber Matronia. Amber is also planning to attend University of Missouri Kansas City to major in health science. Let's hear it for Amber. Next, we have Miss Chloe Wilson. And Chloe is planning on attending the University of Missouri Columbia for music education. Future band director, let's hear it for Chloe. Next up, we have Teppy Nguyen. Let's hear for Teppy. Teppy plans on attending Mizzou for nursing. Let's hear for Teppy, everybody. Next, we have Mr. Bennett Roberts. Bennett plans on attending Southeast Missouri State University for computer science. Let's hear it for Bennett one more time. Next, we have Anna Tavares. Anna plans on attending SIUE and going into pre-law. Let's hear it one more time for Anna. Next, we have Mr. Isaiah Hilton. Let's hear it for Isaiah. Isaiah plans to attend Symphonic Community College for 2 years as a part of the A+ program. Let's hear it for Isaiah. Next, we have Mr. Sam Bartsch. And a rare moment when you see him without his hat on. Sam Bartsch plans on attending Rankin Technical College for auto mechanics. Let's hear it for Mr. Sam Bartsch. Next up, we have Mr. Xander Reppert. Xander plans on pursuing his passion for leadership at National Youth Leader Training this summer and then going to college. Let's hear for Xander. Also, I think we got to give Xander just received his Eagle Scout about 2 weeks ago, so let's hear for that as well. All right. And then I don't think he's still here. If he is, to come out. But we have Mr. Jacob Hampton. Let's hear for Jacob Hampton. He said he might have to get out of here. Okay, because I quadruple checked my list, so just double check. Okay, but don't play that game with me. I literally checked these things last time. So let's hear it for your class of 2022 Fox Band Seniors. Thank you all. for all the wonderful things you guys have done for the last 4 years and breaking so many records and being part of that charge of our program. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Let's head on back and we'll get to some music. Great job, folks. Let's hear it one more time for them. All right. Thank you guys. Not again. Thank you guys very much for allowing us to honor those kids. Like I said, it's crazy because I remember when I was in high school, and of course, if you were one of my high school teachers, you remember that I was the kid who was always getting the pass to go to the band room. And I was the kid who was getting to the band room early in the morning. I was the kid staying in there at lunch and going after school. And I mean, that was what I wanted to do. What blows my mind is the amount of kids that we just announced, and they're all doing wonderful things after college or after high school, and they're just they're the same kids as I was. It's just that's not them, and that's awesome. Let me just ask really quick, out of all the kids we just had up here, if you plan on continuing to play your instrument post-graduation, raise your hand for me. Yeah, and I'm sure that we have a big turnout there. Yeah, so that's crazy. That is amazing. Thank you guys very much. I promise I can pay them for that, but just kind of shows, like I said, the power of this activity that these kids are involved in. We're going to finish out our concert with one of my favorite pieces that I haven't gotten to do yet, and I told the students, and Mr. Shore and Mr. Thomas can vouch for me. I pulled this piece out of our library 3 years ago at the end of my first year at Fox, and I set it on my desk, and I started doing some score study, and then I put it away, and I just kept thinking, man, I want to do this piece. I really want to do this piece. I don't think I'm right. I don't think it's right. And then COVID happened and all that stuff. And then this past fall, I was like, I think we've got the group to do it. I really, really do. This piece is entitled Caccia and Chorale by Clifton Williams, another very prolific band composer. And there's just a little background on this piece that I'll leave you with. It's not a whole lot, but I think I shared it with the students, and I think it's really, really, it's kind of moving, and it kind of makes you think of the piece in a different way. So this is from some program notes contained in the score here. While it remains open to question whether music can convey any message other than a purely musical one, composers often tend to attempt philosophical, pictorial, or other aspects of music within a musical framework. Such is the case with Caccia and Chorale, two title words borrowed from Italian because of their allegorical significance. The first, caccia, meaning to hunt or chase, is intended to reflect the preoccupation of most people in the world with a constant pursuit of materialism. The chorale is, by contrast, an urgent and insistent plea for a greater humanity and a return to the moral or ethical concepts. Now, a little bit more background behind that, like I said, really makes the second movement of this very poignant, is at the time of this being written, Clifton Williams, he was pretty sick and he had to have his surgery done, and he knew the seriousness of the illness, and when he started this piece, he really felt he wasn't going to survive that surgery, and so he only initially intended to write the caccia, the chase. However, after the surgery, it seemed to be successful, and he was feeling better, and so he decided to revisit the piece and add the chorale at the end as a personal prayer of thanksgiving, along with a sincere plea for an ethical regeneration by all mankind. So basically thanking the fact that he made it through that. So we're going to leave you with this, the Fox Symphonic Band with Caccia and Chorale. you guys very much for attending. We appreciate it. Hope you have a safe trip home. Yeah, we'll see you.